Welcome to the Explainer. Long before we had these massive, interconnected cinematic universes packed with superheroes, multiverses, and epic team-ups, humanity actually had the original shared universe. I'm talking about classical mythology. Today, we're looking at a truly foundational text, Myths and Legends of Ancient Greece and Rome by E.M. Berens. If you've ever found yourself wondering exactly where the blueprint for modern storytelling comes from, well, you are absolutely in the right place. Okay, let's dive right into this. We've got four main stops on our agenda today. Number 1, a gateway to ancient myth. Number 2, what is inside the book. Number 3, core themes of classical myth. And number 4, why these stories survive. All right, starting off with section 1, a gateway to ancient myth. Whenever we talk about classical mythology, we really are looking at the ultimate foundational texts. These legendary tales of gods, heroes, monsters, and these massive epic adventures. They weren't just bedtime stories, right? They literally shaped the culture, the religion, and the entire imagination of the ancient Greek and Roman worlds. They were the lens through which those civilizations tried to make sense of a pretty chaotic universe. And that brings us directly to E.M. Burns. See, for the longest time, a lot of these ancient myths were kind of locked away. They were buried in dense, academic texts, gate-kept by dead languages. But Burns had this brilliant, radical mission. She wanted to present ancient mythology in a form accessible to general readers and students. She stripped away the heavy academic jargon and focused on presenting these stories so that absolutely anyone could dive in and actually enjoy them. Moving on to section 2, what is inside the book? So, what do readers actually discover inside? Well, it's a goldmine. You get the iconic stories of major power players like Zeus, Athena, Apollo, and other gods. You've got the legendary heroes, such as Hercules and Perseus, dealing with the fallout of the gods' decisions. But there are also ancient myths explaining nature and human behavior. Epic battles, monsters, magical adventures, all of it building up the cultural foundations of Greek and Roman mythology. It's literally wall-to-wall adventure. Which leads us to section 3, core themes of classical myth. And this brilliantly illustrates the central tension of almost every great myth. It's this massive mismatch. On one hand, you have the immense power of the gods, controlling nature, influencing human destiny, and constantly intervening in mortal affairs. Then, on the other hand, you have human weakness and fate. We're talking pride, ambition, greed, and the tragic inability of mortals to escape their destiny or dodge divine judgment. It's that constant, dramatic friction between immortal power and mortal flaws that makes these stories so addictive. You really see this play out across two major narrative focuses. First up is heroism and courage. This is where you see characters like Hercules, Theseus, and Jason facing impossibly dangerous challenges that test both their bravery and their intelligence to the absolute limit. And the second focus? Love, revenge, and jealousy. These are intensely strong human emotions, but they're explored through divine conflict, romance, betrayal, and some pretty harsh punishments. They took basic human drama, cranked it all the way up to 11, and threw gods into the mix. And that brings us to our final part, section 4, why these stories survive. It really begs the question, why do these ancient stories still matter? Think about it. Thousands of years have passed. We have so much modern media vying for our attention today. So why do we still care? Well, there are a few huge reasons we continue to explore mythology. For one, it's an incredibly important foundation of Western literature. It has massively influenced modern fantasy and storytelling. It's still widely studied in schools and universities today. Plus, it's just filled with memorable characters and adventures, and it perfectly connects history, culture, and our imagination. It's basically the structural DNA of the stories we love right now. That lasting legacy is everywhere. Classical mythology is literally shaping modern fantasy, science fiction, and adventure storytelling for writers, painters, filmmakers, and musicians across the globe. When you see a flawed hero going on an epic journey on the big screen, or you look at an incredible piece of art, you are seeing the direct fingerprints of these ancient Greek and Roman tales. Artists are still drawing from this exact same well. Which leaves us with this final thought. Next time you grab some popcorn and sit down to watch the latest sci-fi blockbuster or open up a brand new fantasy novel, ask yourself, are the heroes of today's science fiction and fantasy simply the gods of ancient Rome and Greece wearing new masks? E.M. Berens definitely gives us the tools to figure that out. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. I highly encourage you to dive into these myths for yourself and see exactly who you recognize.